appreciate you, and thank you for bringing this issue up and also letting us know the best way for us to communicate what we need and what we see. And we want to make sure that we continue having a dialogue open with our members and chamber members. If you have a significant issue, contact the chamber office. Email info@westlachamber.org with the issue that you'd like to bring up, and we will use that. Dialogue. We'll open up that door. So thank you very much. All right, one more round of applause. All right, we are short of time, but I promised you guys 2 rounds of table networking. So what I'd like to do now is I would like to bring up our sponsor, Greg Scott. Thank you so much for being the director of New Directions, and thank you so much for joining us today. We definitely want to hear a little bit more about New Directions, how we can help the veterans that are transitioning out of maybe a tough time, having a difficult time re-assimilating in society, and what you guys do that. We've been a long-time supporter of New Directions, and being a veteran myself, I so much appreciate what you do. So, ladies and gentlemen, Greg Scott, Director of New Directions.
I think I'm going to take the podium as well. It's like a safety blanket. Again, my name is Gregory Scott. I'm the President and CEO for New Directions, and we're located here in West LA. And I think it's been a few years since I've been before the West LA Chamber. I remember coming on board a few years ago and being able to speak, so I'm certainly delighted to be back. But I was joking this morning with some people at the table. I am not a morning person. And but I was here at 7:20 a.m. coming from Orange County. I was up at the so I hope I can make it through the day. But again, I'm really excited, to be here. And, as the Assembly member is leaving, he's been a big supporter of our organization. Scott has been certainly available, come out to visit the West LA campus and really in tune to what's happening here with the veterans. And although I am not a veteran, I'm unapologetically a patriot and certainly support the veteran cause. New Directions for Veterans has been around since 1992. Again, we're located here in West LA on the West LA campus of the VA. And for those of you who may know, Los Angeles has the highest concentration of homeless veterans anywhere in the nation. And so with over 4,000 homeless veterans in the City of Angels. And so our mission is to really empower those men and women who serve in our military and their families, to really empower them to live a fulfilled life. And we do that by several different ways. One of the major ways we do that is through housing. So we provide transitional and permanent supportive housing, mental health services, treatment for drug or alcohol addiction, legal services, full array of services for our veterans, really helping them get back on their feet and get back to serving the country in a different way. And so I always say that I'm serving those who served us. And when we have so many veterans who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, those who served in Vietnam, and the travesty of what we see in our country is 40 years later, probably almost 50 years since the Vietnam era war, we still have veterans who served during that time who are homeless. So I want to say that again. It's been almost 50 years since the Vietnam War. And we still have veterans who served during that time period who still on our streets who are homeless. And now that we have veterans who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, I always say that when I am an older man and I'm sitting on my porch drinking my iced tea, I do not want to have a conversation about, wow, we still have veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan who are homeless. It's been 40 years since that time period. So this is the time, if ever was a time that we need to really support our veterans and support those who served our country, now is the time. I shared a story that although I'm not a veteran, my dad served in the Korean War. And I didn't know this then, but I understand it better now, although he died in 2007 from cancer, that my dad served in that war, but he came back wounded. And the wounds were not visible, so we didn't understand them. There was no such thing as post-traumatic stress disorder. It wasn't a concept or something that there wasn't studies on it. There wasn't data to really talk about it. But my dad, although he went to work every single day, because that's what veterans do. They understand, waking up and taking responsibility and being a leader. Although he went to work every single day, my dad struggled with alcoholism for 30 years. Although he went to work every single day, he often talked about being depressed. He often talked about suicide. And as a little boy, I didn't understand it then. I just said, oh, that's just my dad talking. My dad was a foreman at a factory, so he was a leader, but he got up every single morning and went to work. But on the inside, he had these invisible wounds that he struggled with. And again, although he died in 2007, actually, about a week ago, January 24th, 2007, 9-year anniversary, he still would have died from cancer, probably. But the quality of his life would have been better if we would have understood the wounds that he was dealing with.
Right.
Or the young veteran who comes home today. We've had many of them in our program who, I remember my first couple of weeks on the job, and I went to visit, sat down with some of our younger veterans, 28-year-old veteran, and talked about, we've been on 6 tours between Iraq and Afghanistan, 28 years old. And to hear his story of the things he experienced, but the thing that stuck out to me, that I still live with today, that really literally put me in tears, when this veteran talked about, between his tours, he got married, and him and his wife had a baby. And when he was finally home, they finally said, your services are no longer needed. He came home, but he couldn't pick up his 2-year-old son. Because it reminded him of dead babies that he saw in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he couldn't pick up his own son. And hearing that story just literally put me in tears. And that's where programs like Youth Directions come into play. That we were able to help him get the clinical and mental health services that he needed to really, get his family back, to love out his children, to, get back to work, to get back to society as he made that transition. And then we had many women veterans who, for the first time in our history, served in Iraq and Afghanistan on the front lines. Women have always served in the military, but to actually be on the front lines and fight, in the war, this is the first time in our history it's ever done. But many of them, also suffer. But many of them are suffering differently. Many of our women are suffering differently. They suffer from something we call military sexual trauma. We call it MST as a clinical term, which simply means that while during their time in service, that they were sexually harassed on some level, from either sexual harassment all the way to rape, many times by an officer. And it doesn't impact them until years later when they come home and the adrenaline is no longer there. And they come home and then they realize that, wow, it finally hits them. Where many of them now find themselves homeless or divorced or without that support. And again, this is where New Directions come into play. We were one of the first programs across the country that really started a women's program, a support services program for our women. So those are just some of the, and thank you for that. But those are just some of the services that we provide. Over the last 4 years, we've been able to really expand our services to just provide transitional services to now, being a developer and developing permanent supportive housing. So in 2013, we opened up our first permanent supportive housing for veterans, 147 units. Since that time, we put up more than 200 units of permanent housing for veterans, affordable housing for veterans. So we're very proud of what we're doing and where we're going. And so again, if there's ever was a time to support the work of organizations like New Directions and support our veterans, now is that time to really take action and really help serve those who served us. And so as you see on your tables, there's information about our organization. There's volunteer opportunities and ways to really get involved. Marianne, who is our Chief Development Officer, really runs our fundraising and development department. So please reach out to her, reach out to me. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out. I understand the importance of the Western Lake Chamber and the exchange of referrals and how this really makes this community a really strong, stable community. And please know how much is appreciated. And again, thank you so much for your time today. God bless.
What is the best way that we can support New Directions? Is it just purely a financial contribution, or are there other things that we can do that would really help you accomplish your mission?
Well, it's a great question. Certainly, without a doubt, we're in the business of trying to raise funds to support the services that we do. So that is one way. But there's other ways that people can also get involved through volunteer opportunities, whether it's doing events, whether it's, we have people who come in and teach classes, people who donate, not just, financial resources, but other resources for our veterans too. So there's multiple ways of really getting involved in what we do.
Great. And where should we go to do that?
If you go to www.ndvets.org, that is our website. It has a way of different information about all of our different programs. And you also have Molly Ann here, who's here live and in person, so she can also talk with you about the different opportunities we have as well.
Great. Thank you so much to New Directions. Again, an organization that this chamber has been behind for many, many years, and it's a great cause. I mean, we've got a huge VA right in the middle of West LA, so that's where the campus is located. I know there's at least one residential unit there. Is that correct? Two of them there. That's wonderful. And one of the things that Greg didn't necessarily talk about, but I know the New Directions, it's not just about housing veterans. It's about getting veterans back on their feet after they've had a hard time reassimilating into society. So my understanding from the last that I heard that New Directions has one of the lowest recidivism rates among organizations that do what they do. In other words, they're more successful at helping veterans get back on their feet and get back in society than many other organizations that claim to do the same type of thing. So thank you, New Directions, for Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do one more round of table networking. If you have to go, that's understandable. But if you would like to continue to build some relationships, everyone has a little slip like this. If you want to go to the table that's indicated in round 2, go to that table. Let's see, we have 5 tables. So if it says table 6, you're a wild card. You can go to any table that you want to. Those who are timers, if you guys would stay where you were at, and I will time over here at this table, what is that, table 3, and get there quickly, and we will do another quick round of table networking. California State Assembly Certificate of Recognition presented to the West Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce. Your continuous advocacy on behalf of the West LA business community has been integral to the prosperity of our